Have you ever wondered why day-to-day life seems to be an endless cycle of frustrations? It's a question that resonates with many of us. We're often grappling with a whirlwind of issues, from the never-ending workload that piles up on our desks, to the complexities of personal relationships that can sometimes feel like navigating a labyrinth. There's also the constant pressure of social expectations, the race against time, and the relentless pursuit of elusive goals. All these factors contribute to a cocktail of frustrations that can take a toll on our mental health and deteriorate the quality of our life. These frustrations, if left unchecked, can morph into chronic stress, anxiety, or even depression. And yet, we find ourselves trapped in this cycle with no apparent escape route. It's a bleak picture, isn't it? But what if we told you that ancient wisdom could offer modern solutions to these problems? Indeed. Let's delve into the profound teachings of the Bhagavad Gita to find our answers. The Bhagavad Gita, a 700-verse Hindu scripture, has been guiding humanity through life's challenges for thousands of years. This ancient text, often referred to as the Gita, is a part of the Indian epic Mahabharata. It's a conversation between Prince Arjuna and the god Krishna, who serves as his charioteer. The Gita, despite its age, remains incredibly relevant in today's world. Its teachings transcend borders and cultures, offering profound insights into life, duty, and the nature of reality. It speaks to our shared human experience, addressing universal themes like love, loss, and the pursuit of a meaningful life. The beauty of the Bhagavad Gita lies in its applicability. Each verse can be interpreted in countless ways, allowing individuals to draw lessons that resonate with their unique situations. It's not just a religious text, but a guide for living, offering wisdom that can help us navigate the complexities of our modern world. Now, let's delve into specific lessons from the Bhagavad Gita that can help us combat frustration. The first lesson from the Bhagavad Gita is about the importance of detachment from outcomes. We're diving into the concept of karma yoga, or the yoga of action. This philosophy encourages us to perform our duties and actions without being attached to the results. Imagine undertaking a task, not because of what you'll gain at the end, but purely for the joy of doing it. This shift in mindset, from results to the process, can significantly reduce the frustration we often feel. Think about it. How many times have you felt stressed or frustrated because things didn't turn out the way you hoped? Maybe you worked hard on a project, but it didn't receive the recognition you expected. Or perhaps you've been tirelessly trying to reach a personal goal, but the progress isn't as swift as you'd like. In these situations, it's easy to feel frustrated because we're so focused on the outcome. But the Bhagavad Gita teaches us to detach from these outcomes, to find fulfillment in the action itself. This doesn't mean we shouldn't have goals or aspirations. Instead, it encourages us to not let these goals control our happiness or self-worth. To put it simply, karma yoga is about living in the present, fully engaged in our actions without the burden of future expectations. It's about doing your best in the moment, without obsessing over the fruits of your labor. This detachment from outcomes can be tremendously liberating. It can free us from the constant pressure of meeting expectations and the inevitable disappointment when things don't go our way. Instead of being a slave to the outcomes, we become masters of our actions. We start to find joy in the journey, not just the destination. Detachment from outcomes also fosters patience. When we're not constantly looking for instant gratification, we can be more patient with ourselves and others. We can appreciate the small victories and learn from the setbacks, knowing that every action is a step forward regardless of the immediate result. By focusing on the action and not the outcome, we can alleviate much of our daily frustration. The second lesson from the Bhagavad Gita is about acceptance. Acceptance is a powerful tool in our arsenal against frustration. It's about understanding that life, with all its twists and turns, is not always in our control. Our attempts to bend reality to our will often lead to disappointment, and you guessed it, frustration. But the Bhagavad Gita offers a different perspective. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us to accept things as they are, not as we wish them to be. It's not about resignation or giving up, but about recognizing the truth of our circumstances and choosing to engage with them fully. It's about surrendering to the inevitable flow of life's events, acknowledging the beauty and the challenges they present. Imagine you're a sailor. You can't change the wind or the waves, but you can adjust your sails and navigate your way. Acceptance is just like that. It's about adjusting your mental sails to the winds of life, navigating your way through the stormy seas of frustration, and charting a course towards peace. Acceptance also brings about a sense of gratitude. By accepting things as they are, we can appreciate what we have, even if it's not exactly what we wanted. This gratitude can provide a buffer against frustration, reminding us of the good in our lives when things seem tough. The Bhagavad Gita advises us to perform our duties without attachment to the results. This doesn't mean we shouldn't strive for success, but rather, we should not let the fear of failure or the thirst for victory cloud our judgment. It's about focusing on the journey, not just the destination. In essence, acceptance is about understanding that life doesn't always go our way. But instead of resisting this truth, we can embrace it. We can accept our circumstances, learn from them, and find peace amidst the chaos. It's a shift in perspective that can transform our relationship with frustration. Through acceptance, we can reduce frustration and find peace in our circumstances. The third lesson from the Bhagavad Gita is understanding the impermanence of life. This profound wisdom reminds us that every phase of our existence, every joy and sorrow, every triumph and failure, is but a fleeting moment in the grand tapestry of our lives. Just as the seasons change, so does every aspect of our lives. The Bhagavad Gita puts it succinctly: just as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. This concept, while simple to grasp, is immensely powerful when applied to our daily lives. Our frustrations often stem from a sense of permanence that we impose on our problems. We believe that our current struggles will last forever, but the Bhagavad Gita teaches us to view life from a broader perspective. It teaches us that our current circumstances, whether good or bad, are temporary. Imagine yourself as a leaf floating down a river. There are moments of calm, moments of rapid currents, and moments where you might get stuck on a rock. But the river keeps flowing, and eventually, you'll find yourself moving again. The leaf doesn't fret about the rock or the rapid currents. It simply flows with the river, accepting the journey for what it is. This perspective helps us let go of our frustrations. It reminds us that our problems, no matter how big they seem, are just temporary obstacles in our journey. It encourages us to focus on what truly matters. It teaches us to value the journey over the destination, and to find joy and peace in the present moment. The impermanence of life isn't a cause for despair but a source of liberation. It frees us from the shackles of our worries and allows us to live life with a sense of tranquility and contentment. It reminds us that just as the sun rises after the darkest night, so too will our periods of struggle give way to times of joy and prosperity. By understanding the impermanence of life, we can better manage our frustrations and focus on the bigger picture. So, what have we learned from the Bhagavad Gita about dealing with frustration? Well, we've delved into some truly profound lessons from this ancient scripture. The first key takeaway is the idea of detachment from outcomes. It's about focusing on our actions and efforts and not being overly concerned with the results. This doesn't mean we shouldn't aim for success, but rather that we shouldn't let the fear of failure or the thirst for achievement consume us. We must act, perform our duties, and leave the results to the universe. The second lesson is the power of acceptance. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us to accept the circumstances we're in, rather than resist them. It's about understanding that life is a mix of pleasure and pain, success and failure, and that these opposites are bound to come and go. By accepting this reality, we can remain steady and unperturbed, no matter what life throws at us. And lastly, the Bhagavad Gita reminds us of the impermanence of life. Everything around us, including our own bodies, is temporary. This can seem like a grim perspective, but it's actually quite liberating. It helps us understand that our frustrations, too, are transient. They will pass, just like everything else. Now, how can we apply these teachings in our daily lives? It starts with shifting our mindset. Instead of getting frustrated when things don't go our way, we can remind ourselves to focus on our actions, not the outcomes. When we face adversity, we can practice acceptance rather than resistance. And when we're feeling overwhelmed, we can find solace in the fact that our troubles, like everything else, are temporary. These lessons from the Bhagavad Gita aren't just philosophical concepts. They're practical tools for navigating life's ups and downs. They're reminders to stay grounded, to be resilient, and to keep moving forward no matter what. With these lessons from the Bhagavad Gita, we can not only combat frustration but also experience a more peaceful and fulfilling life.